The Cosby Show was once a warm flame that lit up millions of families with laughter and life lessons, portraying an admirable African-American family in the 1980s. Yet behind the spotlight, its cast members faced heartbreaking tragedies, from devastating accidents to shocking scandals that left audiences stunned. Let's uncover the stormy journeys of the stars who built this legendary show and honor what they left behind for us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's go. Bill Cosby as Dr. Heathcliff Cliff Huxtable. William Henry Cosby, Jr. was born on July 12, 1937. When he joined The Cosby Show in 1984, he was 47 years old, playing Dr. Cliff Huxtable, a witty, wise, and loving father at the head of a successful black family. This ideal dad image quickly elevated Cosby to national fame as America's Dad, a symbol of progress in American television and pop culture. But behind Cliff Huxtable's colorful sweaters was a much darker reality. In 1997, the first major blow struck. His only son, Ennis Cosby, was murdered during a robbery while changing a flat tire. The trauma left Cosby depressed and increasingly reclusive. But that was only the beginning. Starting in 2014, more than 60 women came forward with accusations of sexual assault, detailing horrifying stories of being drugged, raped, and silenced over decades. In 2018, Bill Cosby was convicted of aggravated sexual assault against Andrea Constand and sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison. While incarcerated, his health deteriorated rapidly. He became blind, had mobility issues, and lived in isolation. But in June 2021, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court overturned his conviction on procedural grounds, a decision that outraged the public and the Me Too movement. Though released, Cosby's image was permanently shattered. Networks pulled The Cosby Show from syndication, universities rescinded honorary degrees, and he was erased from brand campaigns. His net worth, once estimated at over $400 million, including a Beverly Hills mansion and land in Massachusetts, dropped to around $100 million by 2025. Now, at 87 years old, Bill Cosby lives in seclusion at his Massachusetts estate. He is virtually absent from public life, no longer able to work, and still faces multiple unresolved lawsuits. Once one of the most revered figures in American television, Cosby has become a symbol of broken trust. Clarice Taylor as Anna Huxtable. Clarice Taylor was born on September 20, 1917, in Virginia and raised in Harlem. When she took on the role of Anna Huxtable, mother of Dr. Cliff Huxtable, in The Cosby Show in 1984, she was 67 years old. Her character, gentle yet fierce, wise yet compassionate, not only brought humor, but embodied the voice of a strong, seasoned generation of black women. Before becoming a familiar face on screen, Taylor worked for the U.S. Postal Service to make ends meet. With perseverance and talent, she became one of the founding members of the Negro Ensemble Company. On stage, she moved audiences in her one-woman play Moms, a performance that earned her the prestigious Obie Award in 1987. But her life offstage was far from smooth. She never married, though she had a deep relationship with a jazz musician who later left her and their son when the boy was still young. Her son, James, struggled with addiction and multiple arrests, haunted by the absence of his father, a wound that, close friends say, quietly followed Taylor until her final days. In her later years, she suffered from dementia and lived increasingly isolated. Clarice Taylor passed away from congestive heart failure on May 30, 2011, at the age of 93, in a modest apartment in Englewood, New Jersey. Her estate, estimated around $600,000, consisted of an old Harlem brownstone and a small pension, which she left to her only grandson, with whom she'd had little emotional connection. A somber end for a woman who once warmed millions of hearts through the television screen. Felicia Rashad as Claire Huxtable. Felicia Rashad was born on June 19, 1948, in Houston, Texas, and her name will forever be linked to Claire Huxtable, the calm, sharp, and brilliant attorney in The Cosby Show, 1984 to 1992. When she took on the role in 1984, she was 36 years old, bringing to life a groundbreaking image of the ideal black wife and mother that had never before been seen on American TV. The role earned her 2 Emmy nominations and cemented her as a cultural icon for millions who grew up in the 80s and 90s. But behind the glow of fame, Rashad's personal life was filled with quiet scars. She went through 3 marriages, including a moment that moved America when NFL star Ahmad Rashad proposed to her on live television during Thanksgiving Day in 1985. They had a daughter together, Condola Rashad, who would go on to become a celebrated actress in her own right. Yet that seemingly fairy tale marriage ended in divorce in 2001, leaving behind an emotional void. Since then, Felicia has led a private life, rarely appearing with her daughter and seldom speaking about her personal relationships, leaving many to sense an underlying emotional solitude. Adding to this was a highly controversial moment that rocked her public image. In 2021, when longtime co-star Bill Cosby was released from prison after his conviction was overturned, Rashad tweeted with joy, "Finally! A terrible wrong is being righted." The statement sparked immediate backlash, interpreted as support for a sexual predator, with many calling for her resignation as Dean of Fine Arts at Howard University. Though she later issued a public apology, the media stain continued to cast a shadow over her once untouchable legacy. Today, at 76 years old, Felicia Rashad remains active in the arts, appearing in films like Creed III, The Beekeeper, 2024, and directing stage productions of August Wilson's classics on Broadway. She concluded her term as dean at Howard University in May 2024. Her net worth is estimated at around $25 million, largely built from her decades-spanning career in theater, film, television, and academia. Malcolm Jamal Warner as Theo Huxtable. Malcolm Jamal Warner was born on August 18, 1970, and when he was just 14 years old, his life changed forever. In The Cosby Show, 1984 to 1992, Warner played Theo Huxtable, the only son in the Huxtable family. With his intelligent gaze, quick wit, and evolving maturity throughout the series, Malcolm became a teen idol for an entire generation and earned an Emmy nomination at a remarkably young age. It seemed like life would always shine bright for a child star like Warner. But as he grew older, he increasingly felt the weight of being overshadowed by his role as Theo. When the series ended, new opportunities didn't arrive as expected. He became typecast as the Huxtable Kid, and his acting career stalled. Warner admitted to experiencing long periods of depression and feeling emotionally distant from his family. The greatest heartbreak of his life was the death of actress Michelle Thomas, who played Justine, Theo's girlfriend on the show, and Warner's real-life partner. She passed away from cancer in 1998 at just 29 years old. Warner was by her side during her final moments, a loss he once described as ripping his heart apart. After that shock, he became more private and rarely spoke publicly about his personal life. Later relationships, including one with Regina King, did not last. He eventually married quietly and had a daughter, but has never revealed the identity of his wife or child, simply stating that he wants to give them a peaceful life. As of 2025, Warner is 54 years old and still active in the arts, though no longer in the spotlight. His estimated net worth is around $4 million, mainly from residuals from The Cosby Show, voiceover work, and music income. A modest sum compared to his past fame, but enough to sustain a quiet, peaceful life. Lisa Bonet as Denise Huxtable. Lisa Bonet, born in 1967, was once one of the brightest stars on American television, thanks to her role as Denise Huxtable in The Cosby Show. When she was 17 years old, she brought a unique beauty and sharpness to the screen, starkly different from the girl-next-door image of the 1980s. But that spotlight would also cast a long, restless shadow over her life. Bonet soon found herself at odds with producer Bill Cosby. Her bold performance in Angel Heart, featuring nudity and sensitive themes, infuriated Cosby. As a result, she was removed from A Different World, and her rising career stalled at its peak. When she was 20 years old, she eloped with rocker Lenny Kravitz. They had a daughter, Zoe Kravitz, who would grow into a star in her own right. But their marriage ended in 1993, amid rumors of infidelity and creative strain. Bonet later admitted that period plunged her into a deep depression, as she lost both her career momentum and first great love. After years of laying low, Bonet found solace with actor Jason Momoa, 12 years her junior. They began their relationship in 2005, had 2 children, and lived a bohemian, free-spirited life. But quiet tensions grew over time. In 2020, they separated privately, and by 2024, they finalized their divorce. Bonet described the split as a fracture that couldn't be mended, which worsened her chronic fatigue and anxiety, straining her bond with her children. Today, Lisa Bonet, now legally known as Lilacoy Moon, lives reclusively and rarely appears in public. At 57 years old, she has gradually stepped away from Hollywood. Her estimated net worth is around $5 million, mostly from real estate acquired during her marriage to Momoa and a few personal investments. Tempest Bledsoe as Vanessa Huxtable. Tempest Bledsoe was born on August 1, 1973, and became a household name for millions of American families when she played Vanessa Huxtable in The Cosby Show starting in 1984. When she joined the cast, she was only 11 years old, the youngest of the main actors, but quickly won over audiences with her intelligence and playful charm. However, the lights of the set began to dim once the series ended. Real life proved harsher than sitcom laughter. Bledsoe lost both her parents at a young age, leaving deep emotional scars. She remained distant from most extended family and chose to live a private life. As roles became scarce, she faced growing pressure about her appearance, aging, and the vanishing of fame. Bledsoe admitted to going through long periods of depression, not just because the industry forgot her, but because she felt like someone who used to be somebody and then wasn't anymore. Her romantic life was also turbulent. She has been in a long-term relationship with actor Darryl M. Bell, her co-star in some TV projects since the late 1990s, but they never married or had children. The relationship has been described as bonded but unstable, with multiple breakups and quiet tensions. At 51 years old, Tempest Bledsoe has largely stepped away from Hollywood fame. She makes occasional appearances in television or voice work. Her estimated net worth is around $6 million, primarily from The Cosby Show royalties and a few modest real estate investments in California. Keshia Knight Pulliam as Rudy Huxtable. Keshia Knight Pulliam was born on April 9, 1979, in Newark, New Jersey. She made television history at just 5 years old. She took on the role of Rudy Huxtable, the adorable, spirited youngest child in the hit sitcom The Cosby Show, 1984 to 1992. The role made her the youngest actress ever nominated for an Emmy at the age of 6. As she grew up, Pulliam worked hard to maintain her career, most notably starring as Miranda Lucas Payne in House of Pain. But her personal life was turbulent. In 2016, she married former NFL player Ed Hartwell just 1 day after getting engaged. The marriage quickly unraveled when Hartwell filed for divorce only 7 months later, while Pulliam was pregnant with their daughter, Ella Grace. She gave birth alone, endured a difficult legal battle, and won full custody and child support. Despite the pain, Pulliam persevered. She continued working, raising her daughter, and engaging in charity work, especially in advocating for cultural diversity in entertainment. In 2021, she found love again with actor Brad James after meeting on a film set. Their intimate wedding marked a fresh start, and in April 2023, she gave birth to their son, Knight James, a child named to honor the mother who once raised herself through life's hardest challenges. Now at 46 years old, Keshia Knight Pulliam is an actress, director, and inspiration. Her estimated net worth is around $8 million, primarily from The Cosby Show, Tyler Perry Productions, and various TV and brand partnerships. She is no longer Little Rudy, but a woman who has survived heartbreak, depression, public rejections on shows like Splash and Celebrity Apprentice, and still stands strong on her own terms. Sabrina Labau as Sandra Huxtable Thibodeau. Sabrina Marie Labau, who played Sandra Huxtable on The Cosby Show, entered the hearts of millions of American viewers in 1984 when she was 26 years old. Though she was only 10 years younger than her on-screen mother Felicia Rashad, Sabrina fully embodied the role of the calm, intelligent, and thoughtful eldest daughter. But in real life, her journey was one marked by personal battles. The success of The Cosby Show seemed like the perfect launchpad for a brilliant career. Yet Sabrina chose a different path. Disillusioned by the limited and shallow roles available to Black women, she turned down numerous offers because she couldn't find depth in the characters. After The Cosby Show ended, she stepped away from television, returned to Shakespearean theater, and pursued another passion: interior design. However, that decision also made it difficult for her to regain the fame that had come too early, too easily. Her personal life wasn't smooth either. In 1989, Sabrina married businessman Michael Reynolds, whom she met while performing at the Folger Theater. But after over a decade together, they quietly divorced in 1997. They had no children, and though she described the divorce as a mutual decision, close friends said that loneliness and frustration with her career had become slow-building cracks. That same year, her father passed away, a blow that plunged her into crisis and deep self-questioning about the path she had chosen. Now, at 67 years old, Sabrina Labau lives a quiet life, focused on interior design and occasionally returning to the stage for Shakespearean plays. Her estimated net worth is around $1.5 million, mostly from real estate she designed herself. Beautiful, tranquil spaces that reflect a life marked by both aesthetic grace and solitude. Everett Wilson as Nelson Thibodeau. Everett Wilson was born on August 5, 1987, and was one of the twin brothers cast as Nelson Thibodeau, the infant son of Sandra and Elvin in Season 6 of The Cosby Show, 1989. At the time, Everett was just a few months old, and this role was his only screen appearance. Along with his twin brother Ronald, Everett became a small but memorable part of the Huxtable family, the closing chapter of a legendary American sitcom in the late 1980s. But that spotlight was short-lived. After the brief role, Everett and Ronald returned to ordinary life, leaving the entertainment industry behind. The Wilson family did not pursue fame, and Everett grew up like any other teenager, until one tragic day. On January 8, 2005, just 3 weeks before his 18th birthday, Everett Wilson was killed in a car accident. The news struck like lightning out of a clear sky. The baby once adored by millions of viewers would never grow up. His untimely death shocked many simply because of how young he was. He never had a chance to build a future of his own. He left too soon to even have assets to his name. Earl Heyman as Russell Huxtable. Earl Heyman, born on October 11, 1926, is best remembered for his role as Russell Huxtable, the calm and dignified father of Cliff Huxtable in The Cosby Show. When he took on the role in 1984, he was 58 years old, bringing to the character a classic intellect, old-school composure, and rare warmth amid the era's fast-paced sitcoms. The role earned him an Emmy nomination in 1986 and enduring admiration from audiences around the world. But offstage, Heyman's life was somber and private. Born George Earl Plummer in North Carolina and raised in Brooklyn, he was one of the first black children in the 1930s to dream of becoming a professional Shakespearean actor. He portrayed Othello, Macbeth, and Julius Caesar and worked for many years in theaters across England and Norway. For his contributions to Scandinavian theater, he was honored with the St. Olav Medal. In Norway, Heyman spent over half a century in a quiet partnership with a Norwegian sailor named Rolf Sørnes. Though they referred to each other as soulmates in private letters, they never publicly acknowledged their romantic relationship. Heyman never married, had no children, and once wrote in a letter archived at the Folger Shakespeare Library about feeling forgotten by Hollywood. In his final years, Heyman resided at the Lillian Booth Actors' Home in Englewood, New Jersey. His health deteriorated rapidly due to age, dementia, and general frailty, and he could no longer recognize familiar faces. He passed away on November 17, 2017, at 91 years old, in the stillness he had long grown used to. His net worth was estimated at around $500,000, including property in Norway and savings from decades of work. He left most of his estate to black theater organizations and a small portion to his late partner, who had died 13 years earlier, Jeffrey Owens as Elvin Thibodeau. Jeffrey Lewis Owens was born on March 18, 1961, in Brooklyn, New York. He became widely known for his role as Elvin Thibodeau, the gentle, sometimes clumsy son-in-law of the Huxtable family, in the legendary series The Cosby Show, which began airing in 1985. When he joined the cast, Jeffrey was 24 years old, and the role stayed with him for 7 years, from season 2 to the series finale. But the spotlight doesn't shine forever. After The Cosby Show ended, Owens continued acting, taking on guest roles and returning to the Shakespearean stage. Despite his recognized talent, he no longer drew commercial attention, and his financial situation grew increasingly precarious. The low point came in 2018, when a photo of him working at Trader Joe's went viral. Rather than celebrating his honest work, the media treated his situation as a punchline, causing shock and deep hurt for Owens and his family. He ultimately had to leave the job due to privacy concerns. During this time, Jeffrey battled depression, financial stress, and the harsh realities of an industry where many black actors struggle to survive after fame fades. His marriage to stage actress Josette Owens lasted nearly 3 decades, but they too faced tensions over the years. They have one son named Jordan, but the family largely withdrew from public life, choosing peace over publicity. By 2025, Jeffrey Owens is 64 years old, with an estimated net worth of just $300,000, mainly from retirement funds and a modest home inherited from his parents. He remains devoted to teaching, offering Shakespeare courses at Yale, Columbia, and other respected institutions, quietly passing on his love for the craft to the next generation. Joseph C. Phillips as Lieutenant Martin Kendall. Joseph Connor Phillips was born on January 17, 1962, in Denver, Colorado. He became known to millions of viewers for his role as Lieutenant Martin Kendall, the principled yet challenging husband of Denise Huxtable in the hit series The Cosby Show. When he joined the cast in 1989, Joseph was 27 years old, and the role brought him a moment of lasting recognition with audiences. However, Joseph's real life was far from smooth like his on-screen character. After leaving The Cosby Show, he continued acting in shows like General Hospital and Criminal Minds and pursued both stage work and teaching. But the spotlight dimmed when he shifted into conservative politics. His public opposition to same-sex marriage, affirmative policies, and progressive movements alienated him in the entertainment industry, which leans toward inclusivity and liberal values. As a result, his acting career largely came to a halt, replaced by roles as a commentator and writer with a defined ideological stance. Behind the scenes, Joseph's personal life also faced painful turmoil. After 23 years of marriage, he divorced his wife, Nicole Phillips, in 2019 amid rumors of infidelity and growing financial instability. That same year, he officially declared bankruptcy, burdened with mounting debt and declining income. Though he has 3 sons, Connor, Ellis, and Samuel, his relationship with his eldest has reportedly been strained, especially as Joseph took a political path that clashed with the values of a modern generation. As of 2025, Joseph Phillips is 63 years old and currently teaches at Clark Atlanta University while remaining active in conservative organizations like the Young America's Foundation. His net worth is estimated at only $400,000, mainly from a small retirement fund and teaching income following his financial collapse. Erica Alexander as Pam Tucker. Erica Rose Alexander was born on November 19, 1969, in Winslow, Arizona. When she was 21 years old, she stepped into the spotlight as Pam Tucker, the charming cousin who joined The Cosby Show from 1990 to 1992. The role became a springboard that launched her to new heights as Maxine Shaw in Living Single, one of the most iconic portrayals of a smart, powerful black woman on 1990s American television. But when the lights faded, Erica's real life was filled with quieter, more painful tones. After Living Single ended in 1998, Erica hoped for a flourishing film career. But as she once admitted, Hollywood didn't know what to do with smart black actresses over 30. Though she continued to appear in films like Deja Vu, Get Out, and American Fiction, she battled nearly a decade of depression, feeling forgotten and disillusioned by the industry she once poured her soul into. Her personal life, too, endured deep cracks. She married screenwriter Tony Puryear in 1997, her creative partner on the graphic novel Concrete Park. But after 20 years together, they divorced in 2017 due to emotional distance and irreconcilable differences. Erica never had children and later shared that post-divorce, she experienced extreme loneliness, haunted by unmet expectations and the pressures of aging in a youth-obsessed industry. As of 2025, Erica Alexander is 55 years old and still working actively in film, publishing, and social advocacy. Her estimated net worth is around $1.8 million, largely from her acting career, publishing rights, and modest real estate. In a complex and often unforgiving entertainment world, Erica Alexander remains a quiet force of resilience, never quite a headline star, but always present, powerful, and unbroken. Karen Molina White as Charmaine Brown. Karen Molina White was born on July 7, 1965, in Philadelphia. In 1990, when she was 25 years old, she made her debut on The Cosby Show as Charmaine Brown, the lively, smart, and slightly mischievous best friend of Pam Tucker. Karen continued the role on the spin-off A Different World, establishing herself as a vibrant presence in early 1990s American television. However, behind the scenes, Karen faced dark and trying periods. In 2013, she survived a serious car accident that left her with chronic pain and reduced mobility, a turning point that stalled her career for years. But perhaps the deeper pain came from personal loss. Her 7.5-year relationship with co-star Malcolm Jamal Warner ended in the early 2000s, leaving an emotional void she's never fully filled. She never married or had children, partly due to health complications and partly because of unresolved trauma from a childhood marked by emotional distance and an absent father. Despite the hardship, Karen continued working in the arts. She became a successful voice actress as Dejanay Jones in The Proud Family and returned to acclaim as Shirley Hughes in Dahmer, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, where she used American Sign Language, a skill she'd learned at 15. That role wasn't just a professional highlight, It was a healing experience after the COVID-19 pandemic and America's deepening social unrest. As of 2025, at 59 years old, Karen lives and works in Los Angeles. She is a speaker, a dedicated acting coach, and still regularly appears on television and stage. Her net worth is estimated at around $500,000, a modest figure, yet proof of a career sustained through perseverance and quiet courage. Dion Richmond as Kenny Bud Anderson. Dion Richmond was born on June 2, 1978 in New York. He entered the spotlight before he even turned 1 year old, appearing in early TV commercials. But it was at age 6 that he truly won over audiences as Kenny, nicknamed Bud, the witty and lovable friend of Rudy Huxtable on The Cosby Show. He appeared in 32 episodes between 1986 and 1992, marking a radiant childhood career that earned him a Young Artist Award in 1989. After The Cosby Show, Dion's life took a more turbulent turn. He had a long-term relationship with his ex-girlfriend, with whom he had twin daughters. But the relationship ended bitterly over allegations of infidelity, leading to painful custody battles. Dion also admitted to years of depression, triggered by prolonged unemployment, failed business ventures during the 2010s, and emotional estrangement from his biological father, a wound he's never fully healed. As of 2025, Dion Richmond is 46 years old. He lives a quiet, private life, rarely makes public appearances, and seldom gives interviews. Though he occasionally takes small roles or guest spots, his estimated net worth is only around $350,000, a modest sum considering the golden years of his childhood fame. The journey of The Cosby Show cast is a powerful reminder of how fragile fame can be, where bright lights often coexist with unexpected tragedy. Which character did you love the most, and which story touched you the deepest? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more unforgettable stories behind the legends of television.